You think every guest is a mercy. And yes, guests can be a source of reward. They come with opportunities to earn good deeds, to show generosity, to build ties. But you need to understand something clearly. A guest is only a blessing when their presence aligns with the obedience of Allah. The moment their presence becomes a doorway to disobedience, that blessing begins to turn into a test. My brothers and sisters, and most people fail this test without even realizing it. Because what do you do when someone enters your home? You relax your guard, you focus on being welcoming, you don't want to seem strict, you don't want to make them uncomfortable. So slowly, without noticing, you start allowing things you would never normally allow. Conversations become loose, boundaries become flexible, standards begin to drop, and you tell yourself, it's just for today. But understand this, the angels don't say it's just for today. Your record doesn't say this was temporary. What happens in your home is written exactly as it happens. If someone walks into your house and openly disrespects the limits set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you stay silent, then you are not just hosting them, you are giving permission. You are saying without words that this behavior is acceptable in your space. And once something is accepted, it settles, it becomes normal, it leaves a mark. You might think it's small, just a little music in the background, just a few inappropriate jokes, just a conversation that crossed the line, but this is how it starts. Shaitan does not enter your home with something massive on day one. He starts small, quiet, gradual. He makes the wrong feel normal and the normal feel harmless. And that's where the danger is. Understand this clearly. Your home is your responsibility. It is an amana given to you. You are responsible for what is allowed inside it, just as you are responsible for your own actions. If a guest brings something that displeases Allah and you allow it to continue, then you are part of it. Not because you did it directly, but because you allowed it to exist under your authority. And don't try to escape this by saying, I didn't want to be rude. There is no politeness in disobedience. There is no kindness in allowing what harms your akhirah. You need to redefine what true hospitality is. True hospitality is not giving people complete freedom to do whatever they want in your home. True hospitality is honoring them without compromising your obedience to Allah. It is welcoming them with respect, but within limits. It is feeding them, serving them, treating them well, but not sacrificing your values to keep them comfortable. Because let's be honest, what are you really afraid of? That they might feel awkward? That they might judge you? That they might stop visiting? Think about it. You are willing to risk the barakah of your home for the approval of someone who might not even stay in your life long term. That doesn't make sense. That is a bad trade. And here's something deeper you need to reflect on. The way you manage your home shapes the people inside it. Your children are watching. Your family is observing. They are learning what is acceptable and what is not based on your reactions. If they see you compromise your values for guests, they will grow up thinking that deen is flexible when it's inconvenient. They will learn that pleasing people comes before pleasing Allah. And that is a dangerous lesson. So when you stay silent in those moments, you are not just affecting yourself. You are setting a standard for everyone under your roof. And understand something else. Barakah is sensitive. It does not stay where disobedience is welcomed. You might not see it physically, but you will feel it. The peace in your home starts to fade. Small issues start becoming big. Arguments increase, comfort decreases, and you won't be able to explain why. But the reason is simple. You opened a door that should have remained closed. So what should you do? You don't need to be harsh. You don't need to embarrass anyone. But you need to be clear. If something crosses a line, address it with wisdom. Change the environment. Redirect the conversation. Set the tone of your home in a way that reflects your values. Let people understand, without aggression, that certain things are not acceptable in your space. And the people who truly respect you will adjust. And the ones who don't were never good for your environment to begin with. Hospitality does not mean weakness. Kindness does not mean compromise. You are not required to please people at the cost of displeasing your Creator. There is no barakah in that. Real strength is when you can remain gentle but firm, welcoming but principled. Because at the end of the day, this is your home. And more importantly, this is the space where your relationship with Allah is built. So protect it. Guard what enters it. Be aware of what is allowed to stay. And never let the presence of a guest become the reason your home loses its barakah. Some people don't walk into your home and break your rules immediately. They don't come in loudly opposing your beliefs. They do something more subtle, more dangerous. They test your limits slowly. They make small comments. They push small boundaries. They joke about things that should never be joked about. And each time you stay silent, they go a little further. This is how your values get weakened, not in one moment, but in small repeated compromises. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. You say, let it go, I don't want to create tension. You convince yourself that keeping the atmosphere light is more important than correcting what is wrong. But listen carefully. Silence in the face of disrespect is not politeness, it is permission. The moment you allow someone to speak in a way that contradicts your values, without any response, you are sending a message. You are telling them this is acceptable here, and once that message is sent, they will continue, not because they are necessarily bad people, but because you showed them no boundary. And this is where most people get it completely wrong. They think protecting their values means being harsh, being confrontational, being aggressive, so they avoid it entirely. But that's not what Islam teaches. Islam teaches balance. It teaches you to stand firm without losing your character, to correct without humiliating, to set boundaries without arrogance. You don't need to shout, you don't need to argue, but you do need to respond. If someone speaks in a way that disrespects your beliefs, you redirect the conversation. If someone makes inappropriate jokes, you don't laugh along just to fit in. If something crosses a line, you calmly make it clear that this is not acceptable in your home. And yes, it might feel uncomfortable in that moment. But understand this, temporary discomfort is far better than long-term damage. Because when you ignore these small things, they don't stay small, they grow, they settle into the culture of your home. And before you realize it, what once made you uncomfortable becomes normal. That's how standards fall. And once your standards fall, your identity begins to weaken. You start becoming someone who adapts to people instead of someone who stands on principles. You start shaping your behavior based on who is around you instead of what is right. And that is a dangerous position to be in. Ask yourself honestly, if your values change depending on the people around you, are they really your values, or are they just preferences that disappear under pressure? Because real values don't change with the audience. Real values stay firm whether you are alone or surrounded by people. And your home should be the strongest place for those values, not the weakest. Your home is where your identity is built. It's where your family learns what matters. It's where your children observe what you tolerate and what you reject. If they see you allowing disrespect for the sake of being liked, they will grow up doing the same. They will learn that truth is flexible. They will learn that approval is more important than principle. They will learn to stay silent when it matters most. And that is not a small consequence. So, when a guest disrespects your values, understand what is really happening. It's not just a moment of discomfort, it's a test of whether you will protect what you believe in or sacrifice it to keep things easy. And most people fail this test because they fear losing people. But think about it clearly. If someone cannot respect your values in your own home, what kind of respect is that? What kind of relationship is that? Why are you so afraid of losing someone who doesn't honor what matters to you? That fear is what traps you. It makes you tolerate things you should never tolerate. It makes you compromise in ways that slowly damage your heart. And over time, you lose clarity. You lose confidence. You lose the strength to stand firm. So break that pattern. Understand that respect goes both ways. You are expected to treat your guests well, but they are also expected to respect your space. This is not one-sided. This is not about control. This is about mutual honor. And if that honor is missing, then something is wrong. You don't need to turn your home into a place of tension. You don't need to push people away. But you do need to make one thing clear. Your values are not negotiable. Not for comfort, not for approval, not for anyone. Because the moment you make your values negotiable, you will keep negotiating them again and again until there is nothing left. And then you will wonder why your home feels different, why the peace is gone, why things don't feel right anymore. But the answer will be simple. You allowed your standards to be lowered one moment at a time. So don't wait for things to get worse. Don't wait until the damage is visible. Protect your values early, protect them consistently, and protect them without apology. Because at the end of the day, your home is not just a place where people gather. It is a place where your beliefs live. And my brothers and sisters, if you don't protect them there, they won't survive anywhere else. You think your home is just a place you return to, a place to eat, to sleep, to relax. But you are missing something deeper. Your home is not just physical, it is spiritual. It carries influence, it carries weight, it absorbs what enters it, and then it reflects it back onto you. Every word spoken inside your home leaves something behind. Every action done inside your home leaves an athar, a trace. Every habit allowed inside your home slowly becomes part of its atmosphere. And over time, that atmosphere begins to shape your heart. This is why sometimes you walk into a place and immediately feel calm, even if nothing special is happening. And sometimes you walk into a place and feel uneasy, heavy, distracted, without knowing why. That feeling is not random. It is the result of what has been allowed in that space repeatedly. Now apply that to your own home. If your home becomes a place where negative talk is normal, where gossip flows freely, where inappropriate speech is ignored, where distractions dominate, then don't be surprised when your heart starts to feel restless. Don't be surprised when your focus in a salat weakens. Don't be surprised when you feel a distance in your connection with Allah. Because your environment is shaping you every single day. And here's the reality most people don't want to face. You are not as unaffected as you think. You believe you can sit in an environment of disobedience, hear things that displease Allah, watch things that corrupt the heart, and still remain unchanged. That is not how the heart works. The heart absorbs. Even if you don't act on it immediately, it settles inside you. It changes your hassasiyat, your sensitivities. Things that once bothered you stop bothering you. Things that once felt wrong start feeling normal. And slowly your qalb becomes less responsive. This is how spiritual decline begins. Quietly, gradually, without a sudden collapse. And one of the biggest sources of this influence is what you allow into your home. A guest comes in and brings certain habits, certain conversations, certain attitudes. Maybe they complain constantly. Maybe they speak negatively about others. Maybe they normalize things that go against your values. And you sit there listening, absorbing, not reacting. And you think it's harmless. But it's not. Because what enters your ears reaches your heart, and what reaches your heart shapes your actions. So if you are serious about protecting your heart, you have to be serious about protecting your environment. And this is why the teachings of Islam are so precise. You are taught to remember Allah in your home, to recite Quran, to fill your space with dhikr. Why? Because these things purify the atmosphere. They invite peace. They attract the presence of angels. And when that presence is there, your home feels different. Your heart feels lighter. Your mind feels clearer. But the opposite is also true. When your home becomes a place where Allah is not remembered, where disobedience is tolerated, where boundaries are ignored, then that protection weakens. And slowly, the peace you once had begins to disappear. You might still have everything on the outside, but inside something feels off, and you won't be able to explain it. This is why you cannot be careless about what enters your home. It is not just about physical actions, it is about influence, it is about energy, it is about the unseen effects that build over time. And listen carefully, the damage does not always show immediately. That's what makes it dangerous. You won't notice it in one day, or one visit, or one conversation, but over weeks, over months, you will start seeing the effects. Your patience becomes shorter. Your ibadat feel heavier. Your qalb feels distracted. Your peace becomes inconsistent. And you will wonder, what changed? But the answer will be simple. You allowed things into your home that should have never been there. So take this seriously. Guard your space the same way you guard your qalb. Be selective, be aware, be intentional. Not every conversation deserves to happen in your home. Not every behavior deserves to be tolerated. Not every presence deserves to stay. Because your home is not just where you live, it is where your heart is shaped. And if you don't protect what enters it, you will slowly lose control over what your heart becomes. You've limited worship to what is visible. Prayer, fasting, recitation. You think those are the only moments Allah is pleased with you. But you are missing a powerful reality. Your daily decisions, your boundaries, your standards, these are also acts of worship when they are done for Allah. Protecting your home is not just a personal preference. It is not about being strict or controlling. It is an act of obedience. It is a form of responsibility that you will be questioned about. You are not just living in your home. You are managing it. You are responsible for what enters it, what happens inside it, and what is normalized within it. That responsibility is not light. It is an amana. And most people treat it casually. They think as long as they pray, as long as they do their ibadat, everything else doesn't matter as much. But look at the contradiction. You stand in prayer asking Allah for guidance, for protection, for barakah, and then you walk out of that prayer and allow things into your home that directly oppose what you just asked for. That doesn't make sense. You cannot ask Allah to fill your home with barakah while you allow disobedience to settle inside it. Barakah is not random. It is connected to obedience. It increases when you protect what Allah has commanded, and it decreases when you ignore it. So when you stop something inappropriate from happening in your home, that moment matters. It is recorded, it is seen. Even if no one else notices it, Allah does. When you choose to redirect a conversation that is going in the wrong direction, that is worship. When you prevent something harmful from being normalized, that is worship. When you feel uncomfortable speaking up, but you still do it for the sake of Allah, that is worship. But here's the part most people don't like. Worship is not always comfortable. You will feel tension, you will feel awkward, you will feel like you are being watched, judged, maybe even misunderstood. People might look at you differently. Some might say you are too strict. Others might distance themselves. And this is where the test becomes real. Because now you have to choose. Do you protect your home for Allah, or do you protect your image for people? And you cannot do both at the same time. If your priority is people, you will compromise. You will stay silent when you should speak. You will allow things when you should stop them. And slowly, your standards will start shifting just to maintain comfort. But if your priority is Allah, then your decisions will be different. You will still be kind, you will still be respectful, but you will not allow your home to become a place where your principles are ignored. And that is strength. Not loud strength, not aggressive strength, quiet strength, controlled strength, the kind of strength that holds its ground without losing its character. Understand something very important. Saying no for the sake of Allah is not a loss, it is protection. You might feel like you are losing people, but in reality, you are filtering them. You are removing what does not align with your purpose and making space for what does. Allah does not take something away from you without replacing it with something better when you let it go for His sake. But most people don't trust that. They hold on to relationships that weaken their deen, environments that damage their peace, habits that drain their barakah, all because they are afraid of what will happen if they let go. So they compromise, and then they wonder why their connection with Allah feels weak, why their home doesn't feel peaceful, why their heart feels unsettled. But the answer is clear. You cannot build a space of obedience while tolerating disobedience inside it. So shift your mindset. Stop seeing these moments as social situations you need to manage. Start seeing them as opportunities to earn reward. Every time you protect your home from something that displeases Allah, you are choosing Him over everything else. And that choice, repeated over time, changes you. It strengthens your qalb. It sharpens your clarity. It builds your confidence. It increases the barakah in your life. And slowly, your home becomes different. It becomes a place where peace is consistent, not temporary. A place where your ibadat feel lighter, not forced. A place where your heart feels connected, not distracted. But that does not happen by accident. It happens when you take responsibility seriously, when you stop treating your home as just a place to live and start treating it as a space you are accountable for. So protect it, not out of fear of people, but out of consciousness of Allah. Because at the end of the day, you will not be asked how comfortable your guests felt. You will be asked what you allowed when you had the ability to stop it. And that answer will matter more than anything else. You assume that if someone enters your home with a smile, with polite words, with a friendly attitude, then their presence must be good. You judge what is visible. You look at how they greet you, how they sit, how they speak on the surface. But fitna does not always come in an obvious form. It rarely announces itself. It does not walk in and say, I am here to disturb your peace. It comes quietly, it blends in, it feels normal at first. And that is exactly why it is dangerous. My brothers and sisters, some people don't bring peace into your home. They bring influence. Influence that slowly shifts your environment without you realizing it. They sit in your living room, but their words carry something heavier. Their conversations revolve around things that don't benefit you. They constantly talk about others, they complain, they criticize. They plant ideas that weaken your focus. They normalize attitudes that slowly pull you away from what matters. And because nothing dramatic is happening, you let it continue. You tell yourself, it's just conversation. You say, everyone talks like this. You think it's harmless, it will pass. But it doesn't pass, it settles. That's the part you don't understand. Fitna is not always about a major sin happening in front of you. Sometimes it is about the gradual corruption of your mindset. It is about what becomes normal over time. It is about what your heart starts accepting without resistance. A guest sits in your home and begins speaking negatively about others. You listen. You don't engage at first, but after a while, you respond. You add a comment. You laugh at something you shouldn't. You contribute just a little. And in that moment, something has shifted. You have moved from being a listener to being part of it. And you didn't even notice when it happened. This is how influence works. It doesn't force you. It pulls you slowly. It adjusts your boundaries bit by bit until what once felt uncomfortable feels normal. And it's not just you. Your home is not only your space, it includes your family, your children, your environment. When someone brings negativity into your home, it spreads. Your children hear the tone. They absorb the language. They learn how to speak about others. They pick up